what I have been actually trying to do is to disrupt your perception. You are used to look at everything in one way, all right, even though the fact is something else. We are trained, conditioned to see things in a certain way that has been presented to us through the mind, denying our body, our senses. It is actually evident. When you see something else, but we don't see, all right. So even more dangerous has been the notion of art and drawing and all that, completely misunderstood. The reason is also that everything has been taken into the realm of mind. We no longer sense, feel, understand. Because if you look at the way human beings understand, you don't have to make any effort. Understand? There is nothing called knowledge. What I mean by this is that by sensing, feeling, you are being. You are actually bypassing knowing. Because knowing is happening within that. So we denied all the three and we put knowing as the primary focus of modern humans. We are now human knowings. We are no longer human beings. So drawing became a very fascinating topic after we did the school, after the schooling was over. We ran a school for 3 years now. So that time we left children free to do whatever they felt like. And unfortunately, I never took interest in wanting to know what they draw. I was interested in looking at what they are doing. So from the doing, I was able to understand that there is a structure given by life to understand the real world. And we are meant to understand the real world. This other one is a fake actually. So there is a system already given by nature, by life, to understand the real world. So after 3 years, we were almost asked to leave. No, it's just before that. So, and we used to hold, samvads every year, getting people to re-look at some of these things, So every year we would do. So that year we were not sure what we should be doing. That's when I thought, why don't we do it on drawing? And then we took out all the drawings done by children and we arranged it as per age, and thousands of drawings. So we arranged everything, and we were looking at it and suddenly found that drawing has a very, very similar logic to the way children learn the real world. As I was telling, form, function, process, structure, you find, of course, in a very different way, because it's not three-dimensional, it's two-dimensional. So it became very clear that only one activity children are involved in, which are cognitive activities. They are only trying to understand the world. This is all what they are trying to do. Because even the very notion of play is a very, very distorted notion that we have today. Because we think that play is prior to learning. Understand, na? Play is learning. There is no other, and play is actually the creative aspect. Again, creativity is the wrong term. What I mean is that the non-conformist aspect of how you understand the world. You get this, na? Because there is no confirmation nahi bolte hai na? Conform. Mechanization is not at all there with life. Even though you may think that people are doing same repeated activities, they are not mechanized, because this I am in reference to the rural tribal communities. A potter you will see doing the same pot throughout for many, many days, same thing. But it doesn't mechanize him because it demands attention. Understand? None of the modern work demands attention. You can just do it. Take chapati or anything that you do. Won't it demand attention? You may be doing every day the same thing, na? Understand? That is not mechanization. Mechanization is when the mind need not be there. Your presence is not required. So in tradition, all activities demanded presence. And that is not because of tradition, because life demands it. So the fundamental difference between modernity and tradition is that modernity doesn't demand attention. It wants mechanization. The mind takes over, denies the body, treats the body as a mechanical object to do what the mind wants to do, wants the body to do. Understand? Huh? So the potter, so the moment you introduce mold, then your presence is no longer required. Then you can keep doing this, you understand? Huh? All activities were like this, and you can see that now all activities have turned into mind dictated activities. So what we found was that drawing is also a cognitive activity, and it is after looking at many drawings. It's not by one drawing, but what I find interesting is that till then one never even thought that drawing has any other value other than art. Understand? Huh? So that is when it is after the school was over that we began to repeatedly revisit drawing done by children, and we were really able to see a clear connection in this. And also what is very important is that, like the developmental stages, a crawling child would then so there is a stage demanded by biology. The physiological changes happen, you become stronger. Understand? So that you find, you can see that in language also, from blabbering to one word. Exactly same situation exists in play and also in drawing. That's what all these things have a parallel growth change. Understand? So if you don't look at it like that, you will miss it. Other thing is that if the drawing is done by instruction, that's skilled, like the way play is done by instruction, or when you give toy. Understand? But one thing must be very clearly understood: drawing is not a natural response of children, because life doesn't demand you to understand life in terms of 2 dimension. Life demands you to understand in terms of 3 dimension. That's it, the way the world is. So when so 2-dimensionality basically came into our life after text became popular. You see, fringe elements here and there, few people reading and writing, doesn't impact the culture in general. Understand? And earlier generations, writing was like a craft. It demanded more action. Understand? Huh? It's not just writing the way that now we are used to. No, it demanded more action. It was more like a craft. It's a skilled activity, and only few people practiced it. Understand? So if you want to write, then somebody would come to write for you. I mean, not that anybody wanted to write, but whenever such demand was there were people who did that. Scribes. Understand? Huh? So after the printing press, the 2-dimensionality became slowly. Of course, it started growing with the printing press. So by 13th century, by 17th, 18th century, the Europe became what you call that. The dominant space became 2-dimensional. Understand? Because the printing press, the printed matter became available on a large scale. Understand? Huh? So if you remember history, world history, if you remember, there is a time called Age of Reason. Understand? There is Reformation, like that. There are one stage is called Age of Reason. Age of Reason is somewhere around 18th century, and I believe that is the time when the printing press, the ready-made knowledge got established in that culture, because reasoning as an activity begin to dominate when you are dealing with what is known. Understand? Because the only thing that you can do with what is known is reasoning. There is no need of intuition or sensing or anything that is required. Alright, no? So this 2-dimensionality demanded a different kind of system within us. Right? So other thing I want to say is this, that in our human journey, there were two incidences that impacted our biology. The first was when we shifted from raw food to cooked food. Understand? Right? So and it is not that one day it happened. Accidentally somebody ate cooked food, they maybe found it tasty, maybe after some time. Maybe they were very hungry, they couldn't get anything. I'm sure maybe initially even our nose must have rejected it. Smell must have, because we are more used to the raw food, understand. So slowly our senses taste, and then slowly our even biological system. Initially I'm sure the stomach must have rejected it, even though the body, the senses accepted it. Our biochemistry must have rejected it because it's not meant for that. So slowly, after hundreds of years, thousands of years, the body then got acclimatized to that, made an adaptive change, biological change. So now it's the other way. It's the raw food that will create problem. Understand? Huh? So this is one major shift that took place biologically, and it took many years for us to get adapted to that change. All right. And I don't think it is even fully done even now. There must be, even now there are certain problems with certain things. Similarly, the next biological change that took place is when we shifted from orality to literacy. Understand? In the second phase, what happened was that the senses were denied. It's also a biological change. Unless our senses, correct, no? Sensorial experience is part of our biological system. Observe, the senses are functioning. So with that was actually denial of the body, denial of the senses. Understand? But the biological adaptation that is required to engage with 2D, we have not figured it out.